This time I have an 18-watt Hughes and Vautour vacuum tube guitar amplifier. This one has had the tubes replaced on it, and the owner says it just shuts down. It goes into protection mode and shuts down, and he asked me to have a look. So we're going to take a look at this one. I might even strum a few chords, but I'm not playing anything. Just saying. Okay, this time I've got a little amplifier. Tube Meister 18-watt vacuum tube guitar amplifier. So I've got that guitar here. No, I'm not going to play it. I might play a few power chords, but I'm not going to play this thing. This bad cable. This amp is apparently going into protection mode after it runs for a couple minutes. Of course, my microphone's in the way now, but that distortion. Anyway, this is supposed to just shut down, so it did it when I first plugged it in. It shut down, and I had to power it off and power it back on. The owner of it just replaced the tubes in it, so we're going to see if we can get this thing just to shut down once again, and maybe do some tests. Have to pull it apart, I'm sure, and bad patch cord. That out of the way. Okay, so I guess it's just a matter of waiting for this to just shut down, and I can see if there's any of the status LEDs start to light up in it, because apparently it's got some status LEDs that are supposed to tell you what's going on. There's a status monitor. The status monitor will indicate the status of the tubes as soon as the amp is in play mode. Standby switch is in upper position. Says if the LEDs stay on in play mode, please check the anode fuses. All LEDs off mean best bias, normal operation. One LED on means no current. Tube is broken, has to be replaced. One LED flashes and one is on. The flashing LED indicates the tube that is causing overcurrent. The other LED indicates the tube is switched off to protect the amp. And apparently you can do a manual readout by inserting a pick into the slot. Take the top off it, I guess. Well, we'll remove the bottom. We'll remove the bottom and take a look in there and see what's in the bottom of this unit. Okay, there's the bottom off the unit. I was recording when I thought I was recording and I wasn't. This is the power soak, so you can turn the power down without actually turning down the volume, so you can crank it up to get distortion but not be running it at full power. You can crank it down to, I think, 1 watt or 5 watts. What's it say here? 1 watt, 5 watt, or mute. You can mute it completely. Here's the little little lights. I was looking in the bottom here, and they're actually on the back. So this is where you would check it. So let's just let's turn this thing on and see what it does. Turn it on here. One light is on. No, they're both out now. Okay, so that means the bias is correct. The bottom plate here says, that I took off, says insert a guitar pick to do a manual readout of tube matching. Insert a pick and count the flashes of each LED. The flashes should be less than 4 to guarantee best sound. Oh, it just went out. It just shut down. Okay. It's shut down with 1 on solid and 1 flashing. It just did the shutdown. And it says 1 LED flashes, 1 is on. The flashing LED indicates the tube that caused the overcurrent, and the other one indicates the tube has been switched off. So if this one's flashing and overcurrent, one of these tubes is gone runaway, and it'll be this one. I guess it's on this side. It'll be this tube over here. I wonder if there's a connection problem on here. It's EL84 is the tubes that it uses. But just look at the solder work on the tube sockets on this unit. I wonder if it's a connection problem or a bad tube. It could be a bad tube too. He's just put new tubes in it. So I'm preheating the tubes. I'll put on the high voltage. These are new tubes, apparently. Oh, listen to that. And it just shut off. And it's flashing this one. This is the one that's flashing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to swap the tubes around and just see whether we get a bad tube, because it could very well be that one of the tubes is bad. So these hold the tubes down so that the tubes don't come loose. I'm just going to switch them around if I can. Get the top off here. Like that, yeah. I'll swap the tubes around and see whether the fault goes to the other channel. It might be a bad tube. If the problem stays on the same channel, then we know that's somewhere in the circuitry. But if it goes to the other indicator flashes, because it was this one here indicating that tube. So if it moves to the other side, then we know it's probably the tube that's bad itself. Because when I was tapping this tube when it was over here, I could hear noise from the speakers, right? From the speaker. I wonder if it was just the way it was seated in the socket. Oh, hold on. I think this tube's bad. Yeah. You know, if it shuts down when I'm tapping it, there we go. Oh, yeah, I got an overcurrent. What's it say? Or no current. Well, one just came on momentarily, but it was this one here. I think that tube's bad. You can hear the noise. I wonder if I crank down the gain, will we still hear it? Okay, now there should be no output. Any noise we hear is coming from the tube itself. Yep, it's flashing. The light is flashing on the back now, and it's now this one that's flashing. That tube is DOA. Yep. That's his fault. Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be something else. But he just bought new tubes, and I guess he got a bad tube for it. We'll shut it off and turn it back on, and we'll watch it again. And see, I've got no, I can actually unplug the guitar. I don't need anything. I'm not going to give it any source. Don't need any source on this. And when I tap the tube, I don't know if you guys can hear it or not because I'm on the lav mic. Let me switch back to the camera mic. It's a little more sensitive to pick up the speaker. Okay, so I've gone back to the in-camera mic. You can probably hear this. Just listen when I tap this. You'll hear a noise out of that speaker because that's where it's connected. Hear the noise? Oh, that was the spring making that noise. Called microphonics. There, it's flashing, and it just went into protection. Now, initially it was, this was the one that was going into overcurrent, and when I switched them around, now it's this one. So I got a bad tube. Now, I do have another tube here. He left me some tubes, the original ones. Let's just put one of the original tubes back in place of this and see what happens. But it sure looks like he's picked up a bad electroharmonics tube. Never heard of that. Never heard of getting a bad tube. And right. Good luck getting warranty. Story of my life is getting bad tubes. Needless to say, I've bought several new tubes that were DOA right out of the box. So say good luck getting warranty because nobody wants to eat the cost of them. They all claim you damaged them yourself. So you bought a full set of them. So he's got 4 of them here. These are old tubes. At least this one is. It's got an X on it. So I guess he figured that one was bad and swapped it out. Let's just see if it throws this thing into... yeah, this one's dead. No current flowing on this one. Now it's got power. Just took a while to heat up there. Well, it hasn't gone into the shutdown routine that the other one went into. Every so often I get a no current on it. So this tube itself has probably got a problem as well. Never use this amp without speakers connected, except in speaker off position. No kidding. You don't run any tube amplifier without a load, because what will happen is very high voltages will be developed in the secondary for the audio output transformer, which is, I think, probably this one on here. This is the power transformer. This is the audio transformer. So you get very high voltages will be developed in the secondary if there is no load on it, and that can cause an arc over and shorting out of the winding in the transformer and kill the transformer. But this one is not going into protect now with this tube. I'll go back to the other tube and verify that it still goes into protect. It's warm. Yeah. Yep, it's warm. Okay, it's warmed up. We'll just give it a tap and see whether it shuts down. Yep. You heard that thud there, right? Hear it? A grid or something's loose inside here. And just a little bit of just the ever slight mechanical shock. Yeah, that tube doesn't do it. There you go. It's flashing, indicating it's overcurrent. Oh, yeah, that tube is crunchy. That's bad. Okay, well, we know what the problem is. Let's try some of his other tubes and see. This one had an X on it, even though it sounded okay. This one had an X on it. Maybe it's a bit weak. Let's just see what his other tubes that he's got in his collection. He's got a bunch of them here. Probably all used. Well, there's no X on this one. So here's another one that's from his collection of tubes. This one has got bad written on it, but it does not appear to be bad. It works. It's fairly well balanced. It says when you check the balance by popping the button with the guitar pick, it says flashes less than 4. Right? When you do a manual readout of tube matching, it says put a pick in and count, and the flashes should be less than 4. You count the number of flashes of each LED. The difference in flashes should be less than 4. Well, it is 4. It is 4 on here. Between these two. This one does not cause it to shut down like this one here that I've marked NFG does. Every time they tap this one, it shuts down. So this one also appears to be, even though it's marked as being bad, it's working. I'm just going to try some of the other ones that he's got here. See if I can get one that's matched a little bit better. This one here is a Chinese tube. I got a JJ tube as well here. This is a Chinese tube. We'll see how this one fares. The other is electroharmonics, which is what I usually use in my amp. I use EL34s in my tube amp. Okay, this one here definitely is weak. Watch the readout here. And I press the button in. That one's 5 flashes. 5 more flashes on that. It should be, they say less than 4. So this tube is weak. This one's weak. And there's one more to try. And that was this one here. The JJ tube. And like the last one, The matching on these is not quite as good. Watch the lights flash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So almost 5 flashes. So this tube here is not as well matched. That's the JJ tube, but it's not shorting out. Let's go back to the shorting out tube just for shits and giggles and see how it was matched. Besides the fact that it's going to kick out the amp, I'll send it back with the other tube that seems to be the closest matched without it kicking out, and let them play that and see what happens and let them know that you've got a bad tube. These are apparently brand new. This is a brand new tube that was in here. That's why he brought it to me, because he didn't think it was a tube problem, because he just changed the tubes. I still got 5 flashes on that. But you hear that tube is shot. So I'm going to put this other one back in. At least this one doesn't make noise, and it actually had pretty good matching. So this is one that was marked bad, but it has the best matching of them all. If I do this set, it's only 4 blinks. The other ones some of them were 5 and 6. So this one tube that was marked bad actually has the best matching. So I'm going to leave that one in. I mean, it works. That back on, and I'll get a hold of him and let him know that one of his brand new tubes was no good. Anyway, I guess that's about all I can show you on this one. At least we get to see what the inside of one of these little amplifiers looks like, because these things are not exactly cheap. These little amps are quite expensive. Well, all tube amps are quite expensive. This is a German designed amp, made in China, of course. So just before I throw it back together, we can take a look at the bottom here of the circuitry. That little cap there almost looks like it's bulging a bit, but it's not. Maybe it's just the way it looks. Got some 68 microfarad 450 volt caps in here. High voltage all the way. High voltage all the way on these. But it looks to be good. Like, nothing looks out of place. I don't see any bad soldering or anything. It all looks good. So I'm gonna throw it together and let them know that there's not really a problem with this amp. The problem was a bad tube. So I'll put that on and throw the top on it, and we'll say thanks for watching.